Good evening. We're now 48 hours after Wales. Decided to abort some of the filming then, and I thought I'd treat you to going up the A537, the Macclesfield to Buxton Road, also known as the Cat and Fiddle, just to do the final part of the review of the bike. Bit of a better evening, nice and dry. So we'll just get a few miles in up here, then we'll have a stop and go through the bike. So I was just thinking the other day there that I didn't mention the fact, obviously mentioned the hiking CCs, but not the fact that it's got a new shift cam engine in it. How could I forget that? I think the reason I did forget about it is because you don't really notice that it's there. It just works. Obviously open the throttle, get to certain revs, whether you're doing it a bit faster, a bit more aggressively, it'll switch cams, and I say you just do not notice it. That nice kind bus driver. Good man. I say it just helps the performance. Works absolutely fantastically. So this first little bit of the Cat and Fiddle, it is very tight, going through the little sort of semi-wooded parts. It opens up, and I say it's now a 50 limit, and it's got average speed cameras on most of it now as well. So it spoils a little bit of the fun, but I think that's mainly because if there's been just too few many idiots going about really too fast on it without respecting the road, and killing themselves, unfortunately. And I'm sure we've all seen the videos of bikes coming a cropper because it's been getting out with their control. But you can still have fun on it, sticking to pretty much speed limit, and say cracking views, give you a bit more time to look at stuff and to think about your bike. So I think I've gone through most of the things on my first part. As I said, for a big bike it handles really well, the engine's brilliant, it's got all the toys if you require them. So there's a couple of things I didn't get. I've not got the keyless ignition. I think, well, just didn't have it in the one in the actual showroom, and I wasn't really sort of bothered about it, to be honest. And the SOS button, which you see on all the demo bikes, but all I sort of hear, quite a few people seem to have a few issues with it, which I thought, nah, I'm not going to be too bothered about that. So just sneak past the car here. Something I'm normally doing up this road. Did this last night on the push bike. And there's one of the average speed cameras. So as long as you keep your average below 50, we're alright. For a big bike it takes these roads, it's not the smoothest road in the world. With the dynamic suspension and all the electronics, it really does a good job of controlling the weight. If you don't like the average speed cameras, there's lots of roads up here that don't have 50 limits on, that are more national speed limits. If you want to just go a little bit faster, they're actually a lot more enjoyable because they're lot more, just as challenging as this. I've got a bit less traffic on them as well. And these guys I know from one of the bike clubs. Probably can't see the camera here, but the road surface is cutting up a fair bit here. I think they're going to be doing some repairs soon. So again, just pays to pay the road a bit of respect. The RT handles it all nicely, and I say I think I'm used to quite big bikes. I like the sort of the heavier front end on these rather than the adventure style bikes. It just feels a bit more planted, it's what I'm used to. If you obviously like a sporty, twitchy bike, it's not the one for you. But it's not a sports bike, but it can still handle itself when required, which I do like about my bikes. You know, it feels very solid, which obviously will do for the weight of it. It's a little bit overcast tonight, but beautiful, still nice and warm. We get quite high up here, 1800 feet nearly. Section of tarmac coming up. Yeah, stand up for that. It's even that bad. The suspension gets a bit harsh underneath it. Got a nice cafe there, Peak View tea rooms, really nice. Open Thursday to Sundays. Lovely cakes. So it's only to the top. It's only about just over 8 miles. So it's not a very long road, and about another 6 down into Buxton. So I'm not going to go down into Buxton tonight. Catfiddle in, pub's not open, there's a little cafe at the moment, possibility of being a brewery. Here we are over the top now, smile for the camera. Yeah, so I say all in all, this bike is, you know, if you want a touring bike, it does it all. I think it looks better from where you're sitting rather than the actual style of the bike personally. I think obviously, as I said earlier on, I think it's due an upgrade. We'll get probably obviously different styling, the dash, etc. But I think it's like a lot of bikes, once you own them, you get used to what they look like, and you actually appreciate them more for what they are. Excellent. Turn off up into a nice little quiet road. This is one of the ones that if you're up in this area you can go on. They're a little bit narrower, they're not single track, not many markings in the centre, but they're very quiet roads. get yourself over to Bakewell, Monty Ash. Very popular place, Monty Ash, for again little cafe there. And nice little roads, pretty quiet. Roads, cattle grids either end. So it's quite nice to test yourself in these little roads. Obviously trying to outdo the sheep. Don't get many of them actually on this road. Actually, they normally stick to the fields. It's nice and quiet at the top here. We'll pull in somewhere. Just go off here, that'll do, I think. All the bike starting up there. Usual warning lights come on before you switch it on, before you get the brakes, etc. Just to show you the dash. Circle through the menu. So switch there, you see the menu along there, and put it on. So you've got a choice for your dynamic ESA, so kind of auto, min, max, dynamic. So you can choose all these yourself. I just leave it in dynamic. Next one down, you've got all your information. So you've got average speeds, consumptions, tyre pressures as well. When you start the ride, it picks them up. You've got a stopwatch, never use that. Travel times, change the date. You can even do your oil level, which I've actually never managed to get that to sort itself out properly myself. We'll just look at the eyeglass, obviously voltages. We can have the information totally off. So I shall put it back onto the temperature. So that's what I like. Oops. And then you've got your trips for resetting trips. Trip 1, 2, trip auto. And then navigation. I say there you can go into the different pages. If you see there, change to the different pages. So you've got your compass. Obviously you can have a bit of configuration in what these show. These are all the different things you're going to have on it. As I've not mentioned before, the fuel economy, I'm getting 58.9 to the gallon, which I think is pretty damn good really, because I don't go easy on it. I just obviously try and use as much of the performance as possible. So you're all there. Takes you back to the front page, then the map. So you can do these, and then you can zoom in, get it to speak. You can mute, put the display off, etc. As there you go, so you got handbar heat up to 5. Never needed 5. I think it'd burn your hands. But it's all there. Then you've got seat heating. Again, you've got the 5 settings on the seat for yourself. The passenger's got 2 settings on theirs. You can do theirs manually, and then you've got all your different settings as well that you can do. All your autos and DTCs, etc. So all done with jog wheel, all on there, and the menu button and the wheel which you can turn. And as we mentioned there before, you've got the cruise control. Just push that out and then press that button and move it to set. Nice and easy. Then you can click it if you want to go up a mile or so. And that's it. And then I've got the screen. I've shown you before. I'll just come out a bit. Nice and easy, set it to any setting that you wish. So all of these are there, all on your left hand. Obviously you've got your indicators and horn. We all know what they do, no explanation needed. And the right bar, there we have got modes again, the engine modes. Central locking, on off buttons, start button. All the accessories we have here. I've got the top box, you've seen there earlier on, we've got the top box. This has got the central locking in it. So one button, click, and up. Massive top box. So I've seen some people have smaller ones, but if you're going to have one, I suppose, it's obviously you can fit loads of stuff in there. It's got a light, and as I said, it's got central locking in it as well. They're not the cheapest, but you know that's BMW for it. Rest built in as standard, and again I got this for my wife so she can feel safe on the bike. So that's that. Now, other things that I have purchased, we just go down here. So we've got the mudguard extender there, and the head covers. Now these head covers were a pain to put on because they've got rubber inners on them, as you can see there, just rubber, and obviously with that it's a springiness, so you've got the one bolt that's normally used there, and then there is 2 on the bottom, and again they were a bit nasty to put on. So also, if I just move the handlebars, I've got a little engine protector there. Now that, and along with the mudguard extender, really does stop much muck going. When I cleaned the bike today, there's hardly any muck in the front of the engine. Why they don't make that in the first place, I've got no idea. You know, don't know if it's for styling or what, but that is well worth it just to stop so much crud going on your engine. So the other thing that I've got that you can't actually see at the moment, obviously I can undo the sat nav. Mine this sticks just slightly, but if I zoom in there, there's a very small metal thing that you can see there. If I put on central locking, it comes out. I've purchased that. I've had to take off the front of the fairing to get it in. Why they don't do that in the central locking, no idea. So you take a noise, but there now. Normally it's dead easy to take out, but now with that in, nobody can press the button in. It's safe, you can leave it on your bike. I mean, obviously maybe not, I wouldn't maybe leave it out overnight, but if you're out for a day, it's well worth having that. You know, you don't have to keep taking it on and off every time you go for a cafe stop, etc. So really good. So there we are. That's pretty much the bike. See there, heated seats. You only get 2 settings. We have another DIN socket there as well as the one on the fairing there. So my little bugbear is that even with rubberised key rings, you still get marks on there. It's a bit annoying, but there we are. So there we are. So there's the bike. I find the lights are very good, and bike 16 months old, very good condition. I think the only thing I've got is on the rear wheel. You can't probably see it here very well, but it's sort of marked up a little bit and the paint seems very thin. Here, there's some marks on it. That's my only complaint, I think, really. Any stones that are flicked up, it's got quite a few marks on it. So that just paint could have been done with being a bit thicker. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the actual bike, and there it is. So let's have a bit of a dash home. It's just determined to rain on me, I think. I'll show you a little bit of the roads about here. It's a very bumpy road, this. Blind corner as well, there we are. Great views down into the valley there. Buxton's over in the distance, you can't see it from here, it's down below that verge. And the main road from Buxton to Leek now. So hopefully you've enjoyed my views of the bike. They're obviously my personal views. Just what I've experienced from the bike. I'd always say to anybody, always have a test drive on a bike to see how it fits you. But obviously, as I said, there's lots to like about it. I like the fact that it's a bit lower than the adventure style bikes that seem to be very popular at the moment. Especially for somebody at my height. It's just a bit too tall for me to be safe where you stop, and if you've got any loose gravel and things, it's very heart-stopping moments when that sort of thing happens. So with something like this, you know that your feet are going to be flat on the ground, and that can make a big difference to just the enjoyment of it, just knowing that when you're going to stop, that you've actually got somewhere for your foot to go down, rather than thinking, holy crap, is my foot actually going to reach the ground or not. And our little whole place popular for bikers. Little cafe there at Flash Stores. There's 2 webcams that are running 24/7. There's one called the Cat Cam. And if you look at the Cat Cam, obviously that's the one at the Cat and Fiddle. That shows you the weather there, and then there's one for Flash Stores as well, which is that one. Obviously they're not that far away, but you can still get different weather there. Always worth looking in the winter if you want to see how wild it is up in this area. So here's the highest village, Flash. Obviously got a thing for Flash. see you doing there. Again, not a little road, but fantastic scenery, always worthwhile having a wee explore in all these little roads. Maybe not one for a sports bike, but whatever floats your boat, I suppose. Just don't get yourself caught out in this corner. Nice long straight road, then nearly a hairpin at the end. Again, little roads up there. Got further into the Peak District, really nice. This corner's not quite so bad. So as I mentioned before, I was showing you the details on the sat-nav, fuel consumption. I'd probably say mostly I get about 53 to 55 to the gallon, which I think, yes, you can get more than that if you're being slightly more careful. But I'm not one for doing that on my bike. I like to enjoy the performance on offer when it's safe to do so. Doing bits like this, you get good miles per gallon because there's a rubbish bit of road here. So about time they actually repaired it. It's the River Dane. Very faded sign there. Again, to mention the panniers, I say they're obviously get a helmet in them. BMW their own bags, which are nice and expensive, but fit them very nicely, and you get tons of stuff in them. So again, plenty of luggage capacity. Yeah, I do just have my tank bag on, just so I've got stuff that's just dead handy. Don't have to sort of get off the bike to get a few bits and bobs like my wallet, or I've got a few bits of camera bobs in there. I think there's not many bags. This one's a 50-litre bag. I did ask around on some of the forums, and they did say that it did fit, and that when you turn the handlebars it didn't set off the horn. They lied. So any time you got to do a close manoeuvre with it on, you got to turn the bars to the left. Obviously you've got the ignition on, horn goes off and either startles you or startles everybody else because they're not expecting it. Make a tight turn in here. So I'd always, if I didn't double check, I would triple check any bags that you do get for it. Obviously BMW their own bag. Obviously it's again another what we'd call a luxury item, but I think I can cope with a couple of horn blasts occasionally. So now on the A54, a nice little bit of road here. table lights have come on now. I find the lights perfectly adequate for the bit of night riding I do. I'm not a regular rider in the dark, but I find they are pretty good. A lot better than a lot of other bikes that I've had. They don't have cornering lights, which that might be something that might appear on the next version, because they seem to be coming on a lot more bikes nowadays. Had it on my KTM Super Adventure, but the lights are very good. Dumbers. This it's like any video, it never shows the elevation. This is quite a steep bit here, looking down the road. In front of me, the hill there is called Cloud. Seems strange doing this road on a motorbike. I usually do it on a push bike. And I say, it's quite a fair bit downhill, relatively steep. You get up to nearly 50 miles an hour on a push bike in Lycra. And there's the sort of motorbikes with leathers, gloves and all the protection stuff. Also a little bit of a horrible dark section this. Camber's not brilliant. Famous Bosley Crossroads. Again, this is got signs on it in the winter when it's often shut going up this road. Just shows how wild the weather can get. Right, so I shall sign off now. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. Hopefully this will all come out nice. I won't have to go out again and do some more. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this, if you want to see more of this bike, if you look at my channel, I've done a series going to the Balkans. As I mentioned earlier on, there's about 6 or 7 videos there. So hopefully if you go across and enjoy these, we did some cracking roads on that one, and then I've got another set on the KTM when we went to the Picos as well. So there we are, over and out I should say. I say thanks for watching if you've actually watched this, and hopefully I'll be able to get out and do another video at some point. Thank you very much, and see you all later.